The Grand Regent Crest Hotel wasn't just another luxury destination. It was an architectural masterpiece. Gleaming chandeliers sparkled like stars, polished marble floors reflected the golden glow of elegant lighting, and the soft hum of classical music set the perfect ambience. This was a place reserved for the elite, high-profile business magnates, Hollywood celebrities, and world dignitaries, all expecting nothing short of perfection. But tonight, Ethan Walker, the man who didn't just own this hotel but an entire empire of world-class resorts, walked through its pristine glass doors. And yet, no one recognized him. No entourage, no business associates, no designer suit, no air of importance. Instead, he was dressed casually, a simple hoodie, a pair of jeans, and a duffel bag slung over his shoulder. He wasn't here to be treated like royalty. No, this time, he was here to see the truth, to witness what really happened when no one thought they were being watched. For weeks, complaints had been piling up, loyal guests voicing their frustrations. Some spoke of rude, dismissive staff, a clear drop in service quality, and worst of all, whispers of discrimination. People being treated differently just because of how they looked. Unacceptable. But Ethan wasn't the kind of CEO to sit behind a desk and issue memos. No. He did what he did best. He went undercover. As he approached the reception desk, two employees stood chatting behind the counter. Their name tags read Michael and Claire. Their laughter echoed across the near-empty lobby, carefree and unconcerned. That was until Ethan stepped forward. Their smiles faded instantly. Michael barely looked up from his computer screen. "Yeah," he muttered, tone flat, uninterested, as if checking in a guest was a burden rather than his actual job. Ethan remained calm, his voice polite. "Hi, I have a reservation. Ethan Clark. Booked a suite for 3 nights. Claire, now visibly curious, raised an eyebrow. Her eyes flickered with judgment as she scanned him from head to toe. "A suite?" She repeated it slowly, like she was trying to process the idea. Like he must have made a mistake. "Yes," Ethan confirmed, handing over his ID. Michael took it, glanced at it, then exchanged a look with Claire. Ethan didn't miss the smirk that briefly played on Michael's lips before he casually set the ID down. "You sure about that?" Michael asked, his tone now laced with sarcasm. "A suite's pretty pricey." Ethan felt a familiar sting. He'd been there before. A young entrepreneur, constantly underestimated, constantly doubted. But this was different. This was his hotel. And watching his staff behave like this, his blood boiled. Still, he kept his cool. "I'm sure," he said, pulling out his credit card. Claire sighed dramatically, like processing the payment was some huge inconvenience. As she swiped the card, she muttered, "Must have hit the jackpot or something." Michael chuckled. Bet he spent his entire savings on this one stay. Claire smirked. Probably had to split it between 2 credit cards just to afford it. Ethan's grip on his duffel bag tightened. So, this is how they treated guests who didn't look rich? The transaction went through, and Claire slid the key card across the counter with a forced smile. But as Ethan turned to leave, he caught something. The way they immediately leaned toward each other, whispering, laughing. That was it. He needed to know exactly what they were saying. Instead of heading to the elevators, he took a quick detour, slipping behind one of the grand marble pillars, hidden but close enough to listen. Michael scoffed. "Man, I love when these broke guys try to act rich." Claire giggled. "Right? Who's he trying to impress? Himself? He looks like he belongs in some rundown motel, not a 5-star suite." Michael leaned on the desk, shaking his head. "I guarantee you by tomorrow, he'll be at the front desk begging for a refund, some family emergency excuse." Claire snickered. "Or he's one of those wannabe influencers. Probably going to take a few pics, post them online, and pretend he actually belongs here." Ethan closed his eyes for a moment, taking a deep breath. This was worse than he thought. This wasn't just a matter of bad service. This was routine behavior They were comfortable mocking guests behind their backs. How many others had they humiliated like this? But now it was their turn to be humiliated. Ethan stepped out from behind the pillar and walked straight back to the reception desk. Michael and Claire froze. Their smirks vanished instantly. Panic washed over their faces as they realized he'd heard everything. Ethan didn't need to raise his voice. The authority in his tone alone sent a chill through the air. "You judge a lot based on appearances," he said, his gaze piercing through them both. "That's a dangerous habit, especially in customer service." Claire swallowed hard. "Yes, sir, we didn't mean." Ethan reached into his pocket and pulled out a sleek, black titanium business card, setting it on the counter. Both leaned in to read it, their faces drained of color. Ethan Walker, CEO, Regent Crest Hotels. The man they had just mocked, belittled, and disrespected was the owner of the hotel they worked for. Claire's mouth opened and closed, speechless. Michael looked like he wanted the ground to swallow him whole. Ethan let the silence linger, watching them squirm before he spoke again. "I came here undercover because I heard complaints, and in less than 10 minutes, you proved them right." Michael stammered, "Sir, please, we didn't mean any harm." Ethan cut him off. "If this is how you treat guests when you think no one is watching, you don't belong in the hospitality industry." He turned to the hotel manager, who had been watching the entire scene unfold, his face twisted in horror. "I expect you to handle this immediately," Ethan said, his tone sharp. The manager nodded, so fast it looked painful. "Oh, of course, sir. They're both terminated, effective immediately." Claire gasped. "Please, we need this job." Ethan didn't flinch. "You needed it before you decided to humiliate paying guests. Actions have consequences." Michael tried again. "It was just a joke." Ethan shook his head. "A joke? Laughing at people who trusted you to treat them with respect. That's why you're both unemployed." With that, Ethan turned and walked away. As he stepped into his luxurious suite, he sighed. He had built his empire on respect and excellence. He wouldn't let anyone ruin that. The next morning, he called a staff meeting. "Success isn't about money or status," he told them. "It's about how you treat people, whether they're a CEO or just an ordinary guest. That's the standard of this hotel, and we will uphold it." And just like that, the Grand Regent Crest Hotel regained its reputation. Not just for luxury, but for dignity, respect, and excellence. If you love this story, comment, and subscribe for more powerful life lessons. Together, we can make the world a better place.